Hello, this is Miss Noel from Falcon Ridge Elementary. I'm here to navigate you today through a virtual field trip for the life cycles of the Darkling beetle and the cricket. We're going to focus on box 10 today, and I'm just going to show you how to go into your portal and then come back into the choice board and click on the link to access a virtual field trip. So we're going to start by looking here at the directions. It says that you must be logged into Discovery Education through your portal before clicking on the link. So then we're going to go to the internet, and you're going to go to huffmanisd.net. Then you're going to click on your student portal, and you're going to log in using your computer username and your lunch number. Then we're going to find the Discovery Education tile. It should be on your default screen if you've been using it. If not, you can search up here with this browser, the search bar, and you can type in Discovery and it should come up. Mine doesn't come up automatically, but yours should. So I'm going to go back and just click on my default. Then if your teacher has assigned you a virtual field trip, it should be out here in your home screen and you would be able to see it. Since I'm a teacher, I don't have that option. So we're going to go back to our choice board, which I've opened it as a PDF document. And I'm going to click on this link. Since I'm already in Discovery Education, it should take you straight into your board. We're going to be looking at complete versus incomplete metamorphosis. The purpose of today's field trip is to determine the differences in the life cycle of a darkling beetle and a cricket. You're going to determine the difference in complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis as well. We will be conducting research through this virtual field trip. You will research with the goal to find and illustrate the life cycle of a darkling beetle. Be sure to include the words complete metamorphosis in the title of your illustration. So you're going to be making an illustration. You will need a pencil and notepad. So if I were you, I would pause the video, go get a notepad and a pencil so that you can take notes and draw your pictures as you watch the videos. In the next video, you're going to find and illustrate the life cycle of a cricket, and that's going to be shown down here to the right. And be sure to include the words incomplete metamorphosis in the title of your illustration. You'll be noting the differences and similarities between complete and incomplete metamorphosis. Here we go. Here's our first video.
It's estimated that there are millions of different kinds of insects on the planet. Insects have fascinating life cycles. You compare. Compare the appearance of these two living things. They look very different from each other. One is worm-like, and the other has legs and looks like an insect. It may seem hard to believe, but they're actually the same insect, just at different stages in their lives. Insects, and many other animals, go through a series of distinct changes called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is the process of an animal changing form. We generally refer to these different forms as stages. Insects such as moths, butterflies, bees, and flies go through a type of metamorphosis called complete metamorphosis. In complete metamorphosis, an adult insect lays eggs. The eggs hatch into a worm-like larva. Sometimes the larvae are called caterpillars, maggots, or grubs. After several days, weeks, or months, these organisms develop a pupa. A pupa is sometimes called a cocoon. Inside the pupa, adult structures begin to form. When the changes are complete, the pupa splits open and the adult emerges. Incomplete metamorphosis does not involve as many stages as complete metamorphosis. Insects such as grasshoppers and termites, for example, undergo incomplete metamorphosis. In incomplete metamorphosis, an egg, laid by the female, hatches into a nymph. The nymph looks similar to an adult insect, but is smaller and not as fully developed. Usually, the nymph goes through a series of molts as it grows larger and begins to more closely resemble an adult. After many weeks or months, the nymph becomes an adult with the ability to reproduce. These are just a couple of examples of insect life cycles.
Okay, in the next video, we're going to be learning about the life cycle of a cricket, and you'll be seeing my face on the next video and then a later video as well. So here we go. Here's our life cycle of a cricket.
Hello, girls and boys. This is Miss Noel from Falcon Ridge Elementary. I'm here to talk to you today about the life cycle of crickets. We're going to start with our egg phase. So here we go. Watch the surface. I'm going to pause, and you can barely see those eggs right here. There are our eggs. And it's really hard to find pictures of cricket eggs because they're so tiny. This is week 2. They've emerged from the egg phase, and now they are called nymphs. That basically means a baby cricket. There's our first baby cricket. Now we're going to speed through the remainder of this video, and we will see the different phases as we go through. So this is week 3 of our life cycle, and they're getting a little bit larger. Getting more and more every day. So here we go. Still getting larger. Right here that these crickets are actually in what phase? Can you tell? Okay, they look like they're adults, but let's go to another clip in our video. So right here, you can see that they look a little different. These are actually the adults. We can tell that they're adults because they have wings, and we can see that they have this reproductive organ sticking out the back. Here in a second, you're going to learn how you can tell the difference in males and females. Here it is. So, the one with the long spike, these are females. Let's see. We can tell that this is a female adult cricket. She has wings and a very long spike. So, we can these are adults because you can hear the chirping sound. Only of the adults make the chirping sound because they have the wings. The wings are actually rubbed together to make that chirping sound, which helps with their reproductive cycle. They rub their wings together to attract a mate. All right, happy learning. I hope you enjoyed learning about
the life cycle of a cricket. So we're going to go back into our field trip. And so, as your hypothesis, how do you think the life cycles of a darkling beetle and cricket differ? We're going to look at this interactive life cycle of a cricket or grasshopper. They both go through the same phases. Grasshoppers are closely related to crickets. The following picture shows the life cycle of a grasshopper through the 3 stages of incomplete metamorphosis. Stage 1 is the egg, 2 is the nymph, and 3 is the adult. There is no pupal stage, unlike in insects such as butterflies, moths, or our darkling beetle. Mouse over the pictures to learn more. So we're going to take our mouse and we roll it over the pictures. And for the egg phase, we're going to start there because that's typically the first stage of life. The female grasshopper lays a mass of eggs in a hole in the ground. It then covers the eggs with a sticky substance which hardens and forms a protective waterproof pod around the eggs. In about 2 weeks, the nymph will emerge, just like we saw in the video. The nymph or young grasshopper looks like a small adult grasshopper, but it has no wings. It lives in the same habitat and eats the same food as the adult. As it grows, the nymph molts, which means to change its skin, several times, growing a new exoskeleton each time and gradually developing wings. An exoskeleton is an outer, hard shell that serves as the skeleton for an insect. That keeps its body structure firm and solid. In 4 to 7 weeks, it will molt several times, and then it will become an adult. In the adult form, the hind legs of a grasshopper are long and powerful. The upper section, called the femur, has very strong muscles. The lower part, called the tibia, has sharp spikes at the end. When a grasshopper prepares to jump, it digs the spines into the ground, brings the tibia and femur together, then straightens its legs and shoots forward like a released spring. Some species of grasshopper can jump more than 100 times their length. Then the adults will reproduce and will start the cycle all over again. So, in the analysis phase of our field trip, I would like for you to look closely at the pictures below and note any differences that you notice in the life cycles of the 2 insects. I hope that you drew your illustrations by this time. And if not, use these images to draw your illustrations of the life cycle of a cricket. Can you see any differences? And we've discussed them several times, so I hope that you can write down the similarities and the differences. Pause this video if you need more time. Ready? So now we're going to watch the conclusion to see if your answers are correct. Life cycles of a darkling beetle and cricket.
Hello, this is Miss Noel from Falcon Ridge Elementary. I'm here to talk to you today about complete versus incomplete metamorphosis. We'll start with complete metamorphosis and a darkling beetle. Stage 1 is the egg. It is about 2 millimeters across. That's very tiny and about the size of the tip of your pinky nail. Stage 2 is the larva. This is also known as the mealworm. And much like the very hungry caterpillar, they love to eat. In our lab, we typically feed them oatmeal and apple slices. Stage 3 is the pupa. Sometimes it's called a cocoon, and the mealworm is transforming into a very different stage. They don't move much until they're ready to emerge from the pupa in their adult form. Stage 4, which is the final stage, is the adult. When it emerges from the pupa, it comes out looking very light. Then as it grows older, it turns into a much darker color. And then at the end of its life cycle, it's almost black. Next, for incomplete metamorphosis, we'll be looking at the cricket. Stage 1 is the egg. As you can tell, the egg is pretty small in comparison to the beetle. Stage 2 is the nymph. You can see that there are no wings yet on the cricket, and we cannot see a reproductive organ as well. Stage 3 is the final stage of a cricket's life cycle, and it is an adult now. It now has wings and this long reproductive spike. This identifies this cricket as a female. That spike or tube is how she lays her eggs. So to recap and review what all we've discussed today, let's look. Can you identify the different insects? How are they alike and how are they different? So the insect on top has how many stages? Yes, it has 4 stages. How about that insect on bottom? How many stages does it have? It actually has 3 stages. This stage, the second stage that was labeled as a nymph, is still a nymph. So it technically only has 3 stages. The second and third stage, they're not really too different. So we give this a very special name. We'll cover it at the very end of our discussion. So as you guessed, the insect on top was a darkling beetle. How about that means the insect on bottom has to be, that's right, it was a cricket. What about the different types of metamorphosis? What type of metamorphosis did the darkling beetle go through? You guessed it, it was complete metamorphosis. How about the metamorphosis of the cricket? That's right, it was an incomplete metamorphosis. I hope you enjoyed our lesson. Thanks.
So, as we discussed, the difference in the darkling beetle's life cycle and the crickets is that the darkling beetle goes through complete metamorphosis and the cricket goes through incomplete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis has 4 distinctly different stages: the egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Then we have incomplete metamorphosis, which has 3 phases: the egg, nymph, and adult. The last 2 stages are very similar. Both life cycles have an egg and adult form. Record your conclusion in your own words and submit it to your teacher. If you need a little more clarification, click on the link and watch the video to see if your hypothesis was correct.